Good morning, class. I'm Miss Krushek.
And I'm Miss Sauer.
And today we're going to be teaching you guys about fractions. So Miss Sauer is going to start off with teaching us the parts of a fraction.
Okay, so we're going to start by looking at just a normal fraction here. And I'm going to explain to you kind of how we break up fractions to show which side or what number is on the top and what number is on the bottom. So our top number here that we have a 2 is going to be our numerator. So that's always going to be on top, and it's going to be how many parts we have of our whole. So that would mean that our bottom number here is going to be our denominator. So that is going to be how many parts of our whole we have total. So given this fraction here, we're going to have 2 is our numerator and 3 is our denominator. So we're going to have 2 parts of 3. So we'll go a little bit later in Miss Krushek showing us kind of how we are going to be having the parts on the bottom here. But just always remember that our numerator is always going to be on top and our denominator will always be on the bottom no matter what.
Yep, so just like Miss Sauer said, you got to get that in your brain. Denominator is always the bottom number. Numerator is always your top number. So if we use another example like 1/2, I'm gonna draw it out. Do you want to hold that, please? Thank you. So say we have my lovely drawn candy bar here, and we split it into 2 pieces. So 2 pieces is our total. So that's what's going to be our denominator because our total of the whole is 2 parts. Now if I eat 1 piece, we'll just shade that in. How much of the candy bar did I eat? I ate 1 piece, so 1 would be our numerator. So we ate 1/2 of the whole candy bar. So if we try it with another fraction, we'll do 3/4. So let's say we have a pizza right here. So here's our pizza. Make that a little darker so you guys can see it. So here's our pizza. We have 4 pieces of pizza, so that's our total. That's how many parts are in our whole. So that is our denominator, 4 parts in our whole. Now if I am a little pig and I eat 3 pieces of pizza, we'll shade that in. So I ate 1, 2, 3 pieces. So 3 is going to be our top number because that's our numerator. So I ate 3/4, 3 out of 4 pieces of the pizza. So we'll kind of look at that from the opposite way then. Our last fraction is 1/4. So we'll stick with the pizza example. So we have 4 pieces of pizza. That's our total of the whole. So that is our denominator, 4. So if I ate 3 pieces, how many do I have left? I have 1. So 1 is going to be our numerator. So I have 1/4 of my whole pizza left over after I ate it.
Okay, so now that we have learned the different parts of our fractions and we have learned how to write them and draw them, we're going to show visually with food how we're going to organize fractions just so it might be a little bit easier to see. So our first fraction that we're going to talk about here is going to be 1/2 again. So if I were to have an apple for lunch and I decide to cut it in half and I want to give Miss Krushek a piece of my apple. So now, because we have 2 parts of our apple, because I cut it in half, and I give Miss Krushek 1 piece of my apple, that leaves only 1 for myself. So that would give me my numerator of 1, and our denominator is 2 because I cut it into 2, so we have 2 separate parts. So that means I gave Miss Krushek half of my apple, and I kept half for myself. So now we are going to go into tortillas because Miss Krushek and I would like to have fajitas for lunch. So with a tortilla, we cut into 4ths. You can hold them all up here. So with having 4 pieces, just because we'd like to make our lunch mini-sized. So I have 4 pieces total here. Now what I want to do is I want to give Miss Krushek some of mine. However, after my apple, I'm really not feeling that hungry anymore. But I think Miss Krushek is still feeling pretty hungry. So I'm going to give her 3 pieces of my tortilla. And I'm going to keep only 1 for myself. So our whole, so our denominator, is going to be our 4 pieces here, which is going to be written on the bottom. And what I gave Miss Krushek is going to be 3 of our whole, 3 pieces of our whole. So we're going to have 3 as our numerator on the top. Now, if we were to reverse this fraction like we did before, we're going to have 1/4 as just for me, and Miss Krushek is having 3/4. So 4 is still going to be our denominator because it's still going to be the total number of pieces that we have. However, because I gave 3 away, that's her numerator, and I kept 1 for myself, that's going to be my numerator.
Okay, so now that we learned the parts of a fraction, how to write it, and we did some modeling, we're going to do one more activity to model them a little further. So we have a bag of M&Ms, and we just randomly grabbed a handful and put it in this hedgehog cup. So we're going to dump them out and count them all. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So, as I was counting them out, I kind of categorized them by color, so we can make fractions based on the colors of them. So we have yellow, green, orange, brown, red, and blue. So, for our first fraction then, here we have 1 red M&M. So our fraction would look like this. So for our red ones, our denominator for all of the fractions actually is going to be 16, because total we have 16 M&Ms that were in the cup. Now only 1 out of those 16 was a red M&M, so our fraction is 1/16.
All right, so then our next one we have is yellow. So again, 16 will always be our denominator just because that's our entire group here. So we have 4 yellows that we got out of our handful here. So our numerator for this problem is going to be 4, and our denominator again remains at 16. So we have a repeat fraction, but that happens when you're doing kind of random sampling. So again, the total number was 16. That's our denominator. For our brown M&Ms, we only have 1. So only 1 out of those 16, so 1 is our numerator, was brown. So the fraction of M&Ms that were brown is 1/16. All right, now we're going to be on to our blue. So out of our handful here, we have 3 blue M&Ms. So again, our denominator is going to be 16 as our whole. And then we have 3 blue M&Ms that we pulled out of our bag as our numerator.
All right. So by now, I hope you know that the denominator is always going to be 16 for this activity because like we said, we had 16 M&Ms total. Now for our orange M&Ms, we actually had 6 of them out of our handful that were orange. So 6 orange M&Ms, that's going to be our numerator. So 6/16 of the M&Ms was orange.
All right, and lastly we have green. So just like before, our denominator is going to be 16, and we only had 1 green M&M, so it's going to be 1/16 as our fraction. Alrighty,
so tomorrow then we're going to be doing a couple activities. You guys are going to be doing an M&Ms activity just like we did here, some fraction basketball, and then we're also going to be doing a craft activity as our assessment to kind of practice writing and modeling fractions.
So we will see you tomorrow.
Bye!